Hey folks, Vince the Evil DM here, back with some news. I just saw this come over the wire for Geek Native about Wizards of the Coast, Atomic Arcade registering trademark for RPGs and board game services. Found this a little interesting because it may harken back to an earlier article, which I'll get to in a moment. But D&D and Magic the Gathering owner Wizards of the Coast have filed for a new trademark. It's for Atomic Arcade. Wizard describes this goods and services application as entertainment services, namely providing online computer games and interactive multiplayer online computer games via global network, and fantasy role-playing games, board games, trading card games, and collectible toy figures, and downloadable electronic games to be used in connection with computers, consoles, and gaming devices and wireless devices. Hasbro-owned company asked for the world mark late in October, with each of these three defining getting its own filing. So they're not sure, but the reason why I pointed this out, and it could be harkening back to this article when they were working with BioWare and Archetype Studios for something to do online, and a lot of speculation was running around for a virtual tabletop by Wizards of the Coast, which they have been foreshadowing for some time. They've actually been trying to do a virtual tabletop for many, many years, not actually being able to do it. For some odd reason, you'd think a company that is successful with, I believe it was quoted on Unscripted Evil, $10 million or something, or 10 million people playing. I forgot what the exact quota was. But you'd think a company with that many people, that much money generated, would have already got their own virtual tabletop. They would have basically made their own stuff instead of using Roll20 or selling through Fantasy Grounds or Foundry, which, by the way, is an excellent virtual tabletop software. Probably the best out there, in my opinion. But either nor there. Wizards of the Coast getting their own virtual tabletop actually might be something interesting for the old school gaming community. And I know you're probably saying, who gives a crap? This is Wizards. What does this have to do with OSR or old school gaming? Well, maybe a virtual tabletop by Wizards of the Coast could open a door for older school games to have a virtual tabletop with stuff supported. Now, I know Fantasy Grounds and Roll20 to a certain point, and even Foundry now have some things like Old School Essentials and DCC, and some minor support for AD&D 1E, but it's all, wrapped in generic worlds and things like that. But with Wizards of the Coast getting their own virtual tabletop, there may be an automatic way for them to include older games. Now, yeah, you're probably saying they don't give a crap about the older school audience, as they said many times. Dackle the Clown example is one. The fact that nothing before 2014 exists canon-wise. I'd like to think that they would not want to lose out on money, because money always is the overall greed of everything, and everybody has a price, including Wizards of the Coast. And they know that there is a giant, large crowd out there that plays these older editions and doesn't play 5e, and they know that for a fact. So it would be smart on their part to include us in this virtual tabletop, should this be a virtual tabletop. Maybe it's not going to be, and maybe it's going to be some type of new game that they're doing with Dungeons & Dragons Online. Maybe it'll be like Neverwinter Nights, how that was, and how you were able to generate stories in that game as a dungeon master, and run weekly groups in that. Because I remember back when it first came out, I think it was the early 2000s. I remember there was a whole group online that you can join, and they had like DMs, and they were training DMs to run campaigns, and you were able to take the assets of the game and create your own thing and run worlds. And I know there's still some online worlds to this day that are just using that as a background software, and it's completely created new, like Ravenloft ones I've seen, things like that. So it's not that hard to run a weekly game with some of these softwares. So for them to get into something like that again, or a virtual tabletop, would be pretty cool. And now including us in that deal would be even better and sweeter, and would go a long way to repairing the damage that they have done to us, in my opinion. I don't think they will, but I do have some hopes that everybody has a good side to them. And I think Wizards of the Coast may have realized their mistake. Well, we'll see. I don't think they did. You're right. I can hear you people saying out there, nah. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me what you've read about this. Any news like this you want to do, just send it over to me. Questions at theevildm.com or ask the DM at theevildm.com as well. Go to my website, theevildm.com. You can click the contact form. Don't forget to check to see if you're still subscribed to this channel. And you can also support this channel by going to theevildm.com/support. You can also join my YouTube channel by clicking the link below, by joining the channel, get some perks. Other than that, I'm going to say keep original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.